That's why I identify as an addict, because I feel like that's addict behavior. I've watched Eric do that addict behavior, and I'm doing it with food.
You know my opinion about food addiction.
Do I?
I'm not a big fan.
Oh, that's right.
The term. Yeah.
That's true story. Today I have a guest with me in the studio. What? I'm so excited because we don't normally get people in the studio with me.
No.
So this is pretty wicked. So this is Ashlyn. She runs the findabariatrictherapist.com. She's been a sponsor of JBWise and us for a very long time. We love her to death. So welcome to the show and in studio, Ashlyn.
I'm so excited. Though it's my second time in studio.
It is, yes.
A little less crowded this time.
I know, you were like...
We're like scrunched in the middle, and I didn't know where to look, and I had a microphone.
You did.
Which was even more fun, so I had like a microphone.
It was kind of funny because I was thinking about that photo, and we just look like we're towering over you. Like, we're like these monsters. Like, hey, Ashlyn.
No, it was a lot of fun, though.
That was good.
So, you may notice that I'm on the purple side.
She is, and I'm on the pink side.
Yeah, because I specifically said if we're going to talk about changes and handling change, why don't I just throw some change out there right from the beginning and make you go sit in the other chair?
She did, and it feels real weird. Not gonna lie. I've been fumbling.
We definitely spent about 10 minutes adjusting the camera and...
She threw me for a loop. My body was... I literally looked at my drink. I don't know if you noticed this. I was like, do I put it there? Do I put it over here? Oh,
it is also weird for those that are not or have not been in a podcast studio. It's the opposite. So I'm actually sitting to the right, even though I'm on the left. So that's kind of weird too, just to begin with. So
it really is.
I know. Yeah,
because now we're.
But
like
it's good because then you in therapy, if you ever notice this with your therapist, our little box is top right. Sometimes it's hard because it'll look like we're looking away, but we're looking. It's really hard not to look at yourself.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yes, I wish they put it underneath the camera. I don't know why they haven't done that. So like some programs you can move around, and the one I use you cannot. So.
Hey, tech people. Get it together.
Simple practice. Can
you guys please find your people, the developers of your apps, make sure they're underneath the camera.
Yeah.
So much easier. Okay. So yeah, there's been a lot of changing that has recently happened, and it's kind of coincidental that Ashlyn was going to be in town. Like, this has been scheduled for her. She has a work event that she's going to and helping with. So it's kind of crazy because change happened right after JBY. We all saw each other, and now OSLP is Mel, so it's Mel Unfiltered. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok, and now you're just going to find a lot more about my journey behind the scenes, and we're going to get a little more raw now. Like, I'm going to go deeper. So,
and who better than a bariatric therapist?
Woo-hoo! That's right. I got a professional in the house. Fucking love it. So you probably see this all the time with change. So what do we start with?
It's interesting because I think that bariatric community in general, so I am 14 years post-op. So I have had people kind of rotate in and rotate out. And so it's a kind of a constant in the bariatric community, for better or worse. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think this is a lot of people's main focus in their life, and then that changes, and maybe they move on, they're trying to conceive, or their families, or they get a big job promotion because they finally got the confidence to ask for it, or whatever. So I think there's a natural progression. I think there are some people that struggle with like shame of regain or that kind of thing, and so we have people that kind of disappear and don't necessarily come back. And so I think in general, there's a normal process within the bariatric community specifically surrounding change. But I think that there's just a lot of change in general. So I think it's a fabulous topic to talk about.
Well, it is because, I just went through my regain. I regained 50 pounds. I've lost 52. So I'm down all of it. Woohoo! So, and it took from July till now. We're in April, mid-April, and I'm okay with the fact that it took that long. Like, the fact that I got here, I am just so stoked. I haven't seen that number. Like, I posted in the Benchies. If you don't know what our Benchies are, they're our patrons. They get special perks, and one of them is I show them a lot more daily stuff, and I'm down to 189. I haven't seen under 190 in probably 5 or 6 years. Like, it is nuts. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my God. And it really is, when you see it on the scale, it's like even more real. I stepped on it twice. I just out of disbelief, but it feels good to change. Like, I feel so much better. I now understand, like, oh yeah, we don't want to go back that. Like, I think I needed a body check almost, like a brain check of like, oh, we don't like that. We don't like being 50 pounds overweight.
Yeah, no, and I think today, like, one of the things we're going to talk about is that, like, change gives you an opportunity to look around and decide if you want to keep doing what you're doing. And forced change makes you forced to do that and make see different options, make different choices. And even when we don't like it, it may be an opportunity for growth.
Oh, I think every opportunity, it always growth. Anything I've ever been through, I've grown from. Like, because you have to sit with it. I'm an empath, and I sit in my feelings. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it takes a couple days, but then, like, I can really pinpoint what's going on. And then I try to just grow from that, because I'm like, I don't like this feeling.
Yeah. And I think that it's so easy in these situations to stay above in the drama.
Yeah.
The excitement of, like, getting all the details and figuring out what happened and what is this and what is that. Then you don't actually sit in the grief of it and sit in the feeling. And I think for a lot of us, that's a way, an old, potentially unhealthy way that we dealt with that is change, uncertainty, is to, like, stay above it in kind of this non-emotional, like, oh, I just want to know and be in the know, and versus actually being like, oh, this is painful, this hurts, I don't want this to happen, but it's happening anyways. And how do I, because if we don't really feel it and deal with it, we can't accept it. We can't necessarily like move forward, not necessarily move on, but move forward. And I think that something very important about change is, like, sometimes we have to sit in it, even if that means sitting in uncomfortable feelings, sitting in uncomfortable conversations, or, like, not truly having all the information, which I think for a lot of us is really challenging. Like, we want to know exactly who, what, why, when, and where. We want to know our place in it, what caused it, like that kind of, what is that called? That, like, after action where we want to, like, dissect everything and be like,
in the bedroom, and I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Like, it's always wanting to know.
Right.
You're right. Like, all the things.
And I think if historically you've been told, or you believe you are the cause of things,
right,
which is normal for kids to be, that's therapeutically, like, egocentric, right? Like, it's our fault, or it's about us.
Yeah.
Like, your parents are fighting and your belief is, well, I caused that because I did something earlier that caused, even though they don't understand complex relationships around, like, they're fighting because there's much deeper things going on that they can't sit down and have a meaningful conversation about their actual feelings.
Oh yeah, I would clean as a kid.
Yeah.
And my brother, after a while, would be like, hey Mel, you cleaning doesn't make them stop fighting.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I didn't have a chore done when mom and dad got home from work. So in my head, you're like 100% right. Like, I thought, oh my God, I didn't get my chore done. Now they're screaming at each other. It's my fault. I did this. So I better clean now.
And then that creates kind of this overarching feeling of burdensomeness. And so our goal is then to not be burdensomeness, or burdensome, a burden. There we go. And so one of the ways that we often do that is by trying to figure out our role in something so that it doesn't happen again.
Yes.
But it gives us a false sense of control that we can control bad things from happening, because a lot of times it has nothing to do with us, or it's randomness, or it's the timing. Like, sometimes, like, we move on from things and, it's the time to do that, but it's just really hard to kind of come to that conclusion that it's time for that.
Well, I know from experience, it takes a lot to actually come to grips with, like, oh, this is going to happen. Like, especially when me and Eric, like, divorced. Like, that was really hard because I didn't want to divorce that guy. I still love him to death, but it's not the same love anymore. Like, I had to understand what was keeping me here. And I just didn't want to have a failed marriage, even though there was nothing I could do, because Eric's an addict. Like, he's an oxy addict. Like, he loves Coke. Those are the two he loves. So it's like, there's nothing I could have done. I supported him. I enabled him, unfortunately, not realizing what I was doing. And there's certain things I have learned from a relationship, especially 15 years of relationship. There's just some things you just can't take back. right? Like, especially when he was on drugs, like, they say things. They say some fucking mean shit when they are coming down, when they can't get it. It's very eye-opening and hurtful, and you're like, but they don't remember. Or they say they don't remember. Sometimes I believe they remember, and sometimes I believe he didn't remember.
Because I think there's part of his brain that was just trying to, like, escape reality.
Yes.
But
100%.
you had to live in reality.
Yes.
And that's really tough.
Yeah.
Because you didn't get the option to occasionally go out of reality and take a break, and you were just in it.
Just in it all day long. So it's like, so with mine, people were thinking, oh, it's because of Eric's surgery is why we got a divorce, you know, like that's because there's such a high statistic, but it's like, no, like ours was completely different. It was, you know, drugs can really take over you. And when they're not willing to do the change, like that's how you know. Like I gave that man so many chances, but then I realized like if he didn't do it the first time and he didn't do it the third time, why do I think the fifth or sixth time? I had to really look internal about like what do I need to do and what's like safe for me and my family and my own health and journey, because he was like unknowingly sabotaging me, like, or maybe knowingly, I don't know, but he brought in the bad stuff, like he brought in the junk food. He's a junk food junkie, so
another form of dopamine.
Yeah, like he
much
loved
more easily accessible.
So accessible. I watched that man. You're gonna laugh because you had one dive bar, and you were wired, right?
Oh, yeah. So there was a dive bar. Do you have it?
I do. I have not mine, but
not the one from the JB. So we're in JBY, and it was going kind of late, and I did not plan well. This is 100% my fault, by the way. I did not eat enough that day. It was just a crazy day, right?
It always is.
So I'm eating it. I totally forgot dive bars have caffeine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, woo! Very alive.
Yeah, one will get you.
What? And I'm thinking, like, what? How many of those did he eat?
So here's the deal is that, like, we didn't have any junk food in the house. But I have these bars, and he likes them. I watched him eat, and he's on his tablet eating them. He got to 5. He got to 6. And I go, dude, stop eating those. He goes,
600 grams of caffeine.
Yeah, he's like, I just can't go to sleep. And I go, yeah, because you've just consumed so much caffeine.
Like 7 cups of coffee.
Yeah. So it's interesting watching, like, if you even just see an addict, I could watch him go after caffeine, junk food, oxys, cocaine. Like, it's gnarly. And mine was just food. So when we were both on the food train, oh boy, like, we got very chunky.
Yeah. And it's hard, too, because it's like, sometimes in those situations, your own choices are like, well, it's not as bad as that. It's not a conscious, like, well, I'm not doing coke.
Right.
You know, but it's more of I think too, in your situation, like you are not going to be able to focus on your own stuff.
No.
In order to, with what was going on with him.
Right.
And I think that you decided that it really was time for you to focus on your own stuff and your health.
And that's when he left, though, I didn't think about, because of course you don't, I didn't think about the grief that comes with it.
Oh, no.
I thought because, you know, like, I'm gonna
be free. I'm gonna have a new life.
Yeah. Well, and I thought I had like guilt. I thought because I'm the one that decided this, that I wasn't allowed to be upset about it. So I started eating. That's where the regain started, was after Eric. And the after Eric thing, and my aunt and everybody moved in. They were here, and she cooks every day. And she cooks a lot of food, and it's like, it's carbs upon carbs. Like, there's a lot of meat, but there's carbs upon carbs. And so I gained between the two. And it was hard because, like, I didn't think that it was okay that I was upset with Eric. But, like, I knew logically I should be able to be upset about it. But instead of talking about it, I just ate.
Yeah, I think sometimes we worry too, people around us are, like, tired of hearing about it.
Yeah.
Because there probably was some feedback, like, you're free, be done. Mm-hmm. Not on purpose, but just more of like you need to live your life. And, you know, I see that a lot of post-separation.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be focusing on what's happening here and now. I can't focus on, you know, how I feel or what was.
Well, and it was hard because when you lose someone, like, whether or not it's happy or not, or good, or bad or good, it's still like I had a lot of feelings, and I wasn't. I didn't have a therapist at the time, so I regained because instead of doing the things that I know I should be doing, I was doing the exact opposite. And like I even pulled away from the community. Like I still did all the OSLP stuff, but like you weren't seeing me. You know, you weren't seeing. Like that's a trigger. Is like you'll not see me in my stories.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that because I had some regain over the pandemic, and then my insulin resistance came back, and I think there's like a lot of pressure, like as a bariatric therapist, to like figure it out. Like I'm supposedly have figured it out.
You know all the things.
I know all the things. Yeah, there's a difference between knowing and doing. It's just very true. But I think it is hard sometimes because you're like, I'm supposed to show up in this way, or I'm supposed to know how to fix this, or. But I think particularly during the pandemic, there's just a lot of uncertainty and sadness and disorientation and change, like a lot of change. I went from being in an office to working at home, full, availability, being at home, no structure with like my eating. I used to meal prep obsessively and then I didn't. Food availability got really weird.
It did.
And we were bringing more things in that we wouldn't because we weren't able to go on vacation or do, so it was like, oh, let's get takeout. Let's support. Oh God, we went on this kick where we were trying to like keep a restaurant that we love open, like single-handedly. I don't know if anyone else tried to do this.
I'm sure they are.
Where I was like, oh, we can't lose our favorite, Mexican restaurant, so we will order all the time from them. And
I love that.
Yeah, but I think there's just so much shame in that because I'm like, I think I was like 10 years out at least at that point. And I'm like, I have this figured out.
Of course.
I remember asking the doctor too, like, you're like 8 or 9 or 10. I'm like, because I'm 10 years out, like, this is just what it's going to be. And he's like, well, I mean, statistically, you've done better than we expected to. So like, again,
I don't really know what to expect now.
Right. And he also was like, oh, you know what I was also getting a lot of feedback, positive feedback, like from the doctors and dietitian, everyone like, oh, you're doing great. Da, da, da. I was like, what if they find out I'm not doing great? Though it was kind of interesting because I could tell people within my bariatric program also struggled during the pandemic, the staff. So, I think at the end we're all kind of human, but like, also we were all trying to like go through significant change, like trying to kind of all do it together. And therapists in particular, I think sometimes it was just like, we're just holding it together for everybody. I can't fall apart. I can't have uncertainty. I can't say that I'm scared or I don't know what's happening because people are, coming to me for that reassurance. And it's like, I don't know. Even today in the current world, it's hard to, know what to expect or, I think they just announced something for student loans. They can garnish wages all of a sudden. It's like, okay, so if people had it in default and, God. I don't know how to fix that. Like, that would freak me out too,
Yeah, 100%, because that's bullshit garbage.
Yeah, it's just hard because like if you were planning and waiting or hoping and then, that change occurs that you did not want, you didn't vote for, you didn't whatever, it's really hard because you still have to accept that the change, like, it will not help you to put your head in the sand and be like, well, I'm just going to continue to default. It's like, well, no, we got to call. We got to figure it out. We got to, figure something out.
You do, because like that's a lot of us were like, I will say even here, like I have student loans and just like everybody else. And like, that's the deal is our wages aren't going up, but now they're going to want to garnish us. But really,
I don't know how people are going to
like that's complicated and frustrating. And like, I know like almost all of mine I just have to call. I need to get most of them will be gone because of what Biden did. But with the new stuff, like that's still like a scary change to think, oh shit, because your girl actually worked for the Department of Revenue for 3 years, guys. And
I was just thinking that, I'm like, didn't you work for them?
I did. And I've garnished people. It's not fun.
No.
It doesn't, like, at least for me, it didn't feel good. When I was at the point where I had to, like, I'm like, oh, I don't want to push this button because I know what's about to happen. I've had, like, my parents have had their shit garnished for so many different things. So I know the impact. And so I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, and in Florida, this is super crazy. The Department of Education and the Department of Health are connected. So if you default on your loans, they can actually pull your license to practice.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see if they actually start doing that. They can. So it's your therapist in Florida pay your student loans, or they're gonna come after you. Which is crazy because if you take away the license, then they don't have the ability to pay.
Right.
But
that's fine.
Anyways,
back to change. Well, that is a crazy change because now you're gonna make me call the people tomorrow and get this done.
Face it. Which, because then you can figure out what to do. It's like, okay, you call, they like figure it out. Now it's like, you know what it is. So, I mean, at least, again, sometimes that force to change and face it gives you new opportunities, kind of pushes you to do what you need to do to get things all set up or lined up.
Right? Yeah.
So not always bad, just probably not the way that we wanted to do it.
No, and I think that's the thing. Like, I'm that weirdo that does enjoy change. I like it. I know. People are like, what the fuck? I do. I don't know why I do. I think it's because...
Did you grow up in Hampton?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I did. Things for us could change daily to weekly. So when things happen...
You had no choice.
I'm really good at pivoting. I'm like, oh, that doesn't work? Oh, okay, we'll try over here. Oh, that doesn't work? Okay, let's keep going. Like, it's like a defense mechanism. It's just like...
Because the only way you could survive was to, like, go with it, because you couldn't probably be sad or show emotion about it, because then you weren't grateful for what you ended up with, even if that's not what you wanted.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And for those that don't actually know, like, I was a teen mom. So I had Dylan at 19. He's 19 to this day. So there's things that I've had to...
I can't imagine him having...
Could you? I know, that's the deal, is looking at him. I was his age when I had him. It's fucking weird. Like, it's so weird. I do feel like
things were a little different when we were 19.
Things were very different. It was actually... We had to do a lot. I was a latchkey kid. 100%. Like, so latchkey kid, also, like, having to raise a kid at 19. Like, that's a huge deal. And, yeah, you have to always pivot when you have a child. Like, nothing ever stays the same when you have a kid. Mm-hmm. And you have to just keep adjusting. And I think that's why I don't mind the field that I'm in, because bariatric shit changes all the time. People change all the time.
Like, all of this. I mean, I think of just the past 5 years, and I don't know, maybe even longer, but, like, I can't even keep up with all of it.
Mm-mm.
And the kids have stuff I've never even heard of.
Like
platforms I've never heard. I'm like, what They're like, no, this is the platform where you watch people doing things. And I was like, what?
What?
So the not little kids, but the popular kids will go do stuff, and then the other kids watch them.
Oh, okay, yes. Yes, I have heard of this.
I'm like, that sounds terrible. What a way to feel on the outside.
Literally on the outside.
Like, that sounds terrible. Don't do that. I don't know. I had a conference I was at where they were talking about kids and social media, and I literally had no idea what they were talking about.
Oh.
Like, so much of it. I was just like, what platform is that? I've never heard of that. Why would you do that? Why would you watch? But I guess we were home wondering what the popular kids are doing. We just weren't watching. I don't know.
Well, no, yeah, we couldn't watch, but that would be weird to watch. But also, I thought it was weird when Dylan would watch other people play video games.
That's what I was kind of thinking. But it's when he was explaining it. I'm like, oh, this is like, it's called like Twitch.
Yeah, there's Twitch.
where they play. Yeah,
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's kind of like that, but just for like everyday stuff.
Right? It's like, oh, what are you watching them like doing homework and shit? It's so fucking funny.
Yeah,
it's so ridiculous. What else do we got, ma'am?
Let's talk about, like, grief of change.
Okay. Because I did talk about grief. I've had grief.
Yeah.
Eric left and all the things.
Yeah, I think that even good change can cause grief. I think a lot of times, like, I finally left my job. Or even if you get a promotion, like let's say you get a promotion, but, like, you were with all your buddies and, like, work sucked, but you guys were all together, and then you get a promotion, you lose that. And even though the promotion is good, it's like there's still grief in that, like, you lost your community, you lost where you exactly knew where you stood, you lost support. So that definitely can happen in bariatrics, I think, too. like our support may change.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe our friend group or our family, we may have to excuse ourselves from things that no longer align, and that could be challenging and cause like a grief response.
Oh, I would agree, because like anytime something like that happens, I'm down for a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even like you said, if it's a good change. And this is the one, like, I had a great change. I changed from going literally from Department of Revenue to Progressive. Great pay increase, great benefits, the whole nine. But I lost the people.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not think that was going to affect me. And boy, did it. And did it affect them. I had no idea. I still don't know my effect on people. But that was like a thing. Like, people were like, Mel, I really wish you were here today. Like, these people are ridiculous. Like, you know, like they...
Particularly challenging. I worked for the Department of Health in Healthy Start. And like, that was like one of the hardest jobs. And I got paid like nothing to do. We were working in like high psychosocial risk pregnancies.
Oh, wow.
And I worked in mostly like really rural, like no electric, like super rural areas.
Yeah.
And like the people I worked with were just nuts, like good nuts, but like very different than me, but like very, like we were a little cohesive group, and the health department was interesting to work for, and the state,
the stories,
the state government, yes. The state government was challenging to work for at the time, probably still is, and hence I do not work for the state of Florida anymore. But I think that, even when I left that job, where did I go? I went to work at the dialysis unit. That was so boring.
Yeah.
It's one of the most boring jobs I've ever had. I just wrote these like fake treatment plans. I like how people coordinate travel. Like a secretary could have done what I was doing. I was like, there's nothing therapeutic about it. It lasted like 7 months, but they paid well. I was like, I can't do this. And then I went to work for the group practice, but got back into therapy. But I think it's just an interesting, that like transition, even when it's good or necessary, can cause a grief reaction that oftentimes we are not anticipating. Mm-hmm. And it could be physical, it could be emotional, it can come just like normal grief, like in waves where you do well and then something kind of hits you and then you do well. And
so can you explain to people what kind of that feels like? Because I know that there's people out there that don't know how to identify their feelings of what grief is. Yes. So like...
Including me. Let me tell you,
hard.
Therapists are some of the worst people about, maybe not all of them, I guess I will speak for myself. Because I'm good at identifying your feelings, not necessarily mine. But so grief can feel like, oftentimes people are expecting like sadness, but grief can also be exhaustion, can be bouts of energy, can be bouts of exhaustion, can be anger, it can be really like a wide range, numbness, disassociation, frustration.
And with disassociation, I take that as where, like, say you're talking,
mm-hmm.
but like I'm over here.
Yeah, so I think of disassociation, like you're just kind of checked out. Like doom scrolling is probably our modern way of disassociating. Okay. So where you're just kind of like you're here, but you're not. You're not in your body very much. So like you may like veg out or doom scroll, watch, The Office for the 87th time, as a means of taking a break. Because really what your body is saying to you is like, hey, I need a break.
Yeah, it's time to step away.
Yeah, or I emotionally feel too high, so I'm going to bring it down low. There's like more clinically, like the actual diagnosable dissociated, which is very different than kind of using it in the terms I am now. But I think a lot of time, I know for grief, for me, I tend to disconnect.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard for me to feel sadness. I subconsciously also sometimes don't let other people. I think my husband's father died. I remember he sat me down. He's like, "You must let me be sad." And I was like, "Oh, that feels awful. Like, I just want to make sure you're okay."
Yeah. No.
And he was like, "No, like, I must feel sad." And he's like, "My dad died. Like, I get to feel sad." I'm like, "No, you definitely get to feel sad."
Yes.
But I have a hard time sitting and watching you be sad. Because I don't want you to be sad. I want you to be okay. But you could be sad and okay. I think that was like the thing that was a hard connection for me, is that you could be sad and be okay, and that's okay too. I think in grief, my brain wants to go to the logistical, what to do next, what to do next, what to do next.
Yep.
And then I get stuck when there's nothing left, and that's where I really am like, ooh, now I have to feel it. So like I'd rather deal with like the structural changes, planning the funeral, figuring out what we're going to do next, cleaning the house, like all of those, so I can avoid kind of feeling.
I'll say it's more an avoidance.
100%.
Of because your husband wants to just feel it. Because I'm like that. I want to feel it and get it over with. And so I'll sit in it because I know now after doing it so many times of like, it's going to take about a day, maybe I might need 48 hours of just like, I don't leave the house. I just do whatever I want, whether that is working. It could be working too. Like sometimes I need to do work. So it's like, okay, I want to just get these things done. And then I'm just going to sit. And like, yesterday, I was feeling it. I'm like, you know what? I have tons of work I can do. But I'm not going to do it. I'm literally just going to watch a movie and then fucking go to bed. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did because you have to just feel it. Because I noticed once you get through those 48 hours, you feel so much better.
Yeah. Because if you don't feel it, it's going to come out when you don't want it to. And I think or it's going to come out when it has opportunity. So sometimes too, people are like, well, how would I know if I'm not processing grief? It's like, if every silent moment or alone moment you have, that's where it sneaks out, that may be, so taking a shower, driving in the car, like that may be an indication.
Like cried in both of those.
Yeah. And I think like that's really tough too, because it's like, there's no prescribed like what to do, how to do it, how to like move on. I don't really like the idea of moving on because really we don't really move on. We like reintegrate it into our lives. It's still going to make you sad when you sit down for Thanksgiving and the person that organizes, orchestrates, and cooked all of Thanksgiving isn't there.
Fucking feels weird.
Yeah, and it's going to feel a certain way, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you haven't like moved on or like dealt with it. It just means that you're remembering them, and that makes you feel sad.
Yeah, and I think it's okay. I like that you said like you can be sad and okay. Yeah, I think we need to talk about that more with people because. That is so legit what your husband's saying because I've been there where it's like, I'm actually okay. I just don't want to talk or I just need silence for a while. You know, it's like, it's just a way that I process or I just need to journal. Like I just need to get it out. Sometimes I just type in my phone because I text myself. Literally,
voice memo too. If there's someone who likes to talk,
I do both, depending on what I'm doing. And it's funny because I pinned myself like at the top because I have an iPhone. I'm like, yep, because I use it so much because I've learned. Because guys, this is a hard thing to learn. So I need to reiterate. I'm about to be 10 years out next month, and freaking Missy over here, Ashlyn's 14 years. So it takes a long time for you to get to this point of like knowing when you're sad, knowing like, oh, food is not the answer, or you could have gambling now. You could have like a lot of us went shopping. I did it too. There's a reason why I had way too many dresses for a long time. And it's not just because of JB Wise. I fell in love with them and then I kept buying them over and over and over again because I wasn't, the dopamine, I wasn't getting the hits with the food now.
It's so nice to have so many options.
There's so many options. I can go into any store now. Yep. What? Like that was a real thing for me. But so what I want you guys to know is that you're going to fall into some things and you just have to recognize what's happening. And it does take a little bit. Like, my spinning habit took me almost a year for me to realize, oh, this is just too much. Like I'm not even wearing them anymore. And then I'm not wearing them. Like some of them have tags on them. And I felt so guilty about that because I'm like to say that I live a very minimalist life, but I also don't at the same time. And that really one got me was the fucking dresses came out of nowhere. And then the same thing with the regain. I didn't do any regains till year 8. And that was a slow regain. Took 2 years for me to get 50 pounds on. And while you get older, Ashlyn, I'm sure you can help me with this because you're 14 years out. I'm about to be 10 years out. Things fucking grow in different places now. I get fat in different fucking areas. Me too. And I'm not happy about it. Because that 50 pounds was a lot of the backside.
Isn't that weird?
My back, the back of my arms, my butt, it was everything behind.
I went to my butt. It doesn't.
Gotta have a booty. Gotta train that shit.
No booty here.
No booty.
No booty.
But it's just weird. So you have to really start looking at yourself again. And mine was literally, I saw the photo. I realized it's too much. I need to stop what I'm doing.
Do you remember what the photo was?
It was back in, so it was basically when we went to LA, me and Kelly Shea. It was the girls' weekend that we did for
Oh,
Pro-Care.
yeah.
So when I was getting dressed, I felt cute. But when I saw some photos of my side, so front view was fine. But once I turned, I thought I saw old Mel. I thought I saw the whole back, like the thunder thighs, the fucking thick legs, like my arm. Like it was insane when I saw it in my head.
Yeah,
I'm sure it wasn't looking like
Yeah, it's interesting too because I was thinking during the pandemic, because we weren't like going anywhere, doing anything, like there just were no pictures.
Yeah.
And my husband and I think went on vacation, and I was trying to find like a bathing suit, like none of them fit, and that's when I was like, oh no, this isn't good. And like I wanted to be able to, like, I've tried not to allow my weight to prevent me from taking pictures because I have like no before picture. I don't know if you've ever noticed.
I have. I'm
like
the same way.
3.
I don't have a lot. Yep.
I have like 3. There's like one set there's like 3 that I have. And so like I have been very conscious, sometimes maybe overconscious to some people, about taking photos post bariatric. And I remember thinking like, I do not want photos of me on this trip. But it was like the first trip my husband and I, we went to Barbados. And it was supposed to be like, it was fun and relaxing. I remember just being like, oh, I got to do something. Like, this is not good.
Yeah.
And I knew my insulin resistance had been back. I'd had blood work. I knew, like, what was happening, but I was just not able to really, like, rein it in a way that I needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, but again, it's like that kind of forced me to be like, okay, well, what is the new way that I'm going to deal with this? Mm-hmm. And that's actually when I started taking the GLP-1. Yep. So I've been on that now about 3 years. I adopted it pretty early. It was funny. Jamie, sleep dietitian, was talking about how she was an early adapter. And I was like, I started like around the same time or a little earlier. I didn't realize we were even early adapters because I was on Byetta, like the original GLP-1. Byetta in 2007, I think. So that one was an injection that you took 2 hours prior to your 2 largest meals. So, it's like way gone. And then it turned into Sedaxa, Victoza, and then eventually into Ozempic. But just interesting, like GLP-1s have always done well. I know people are like, GLP-1s are new. They're actually not.
They're not. They've been around for like really 20, 30 years because of the diabetics. Like
Byetta, I think when it went off patent, I mean, it had been around, a while, even when I was on it. So like I've always done well with GLP-1s and changed opportunity because I had Regain. I was eligible.
There you go.
I was just over the limit for eligibility for the Wegovy program. That's how I originally got on it, because Wegovy was doing the 6-month program that they don't obviously do anymore. But I think it's just interesting because, again, it was like an opportunity that I didn't even know. And I think that's a good point, too. Like, sometimes in these situations, I'm lying in bed like, oh, my God, what am I going to do? Like, I don't even know what the solution is that's going to show itself yet. But it's just as likely it may be a good one.
Yep.
Like, I have to work so less hard. That is not the way to say that. But I do. I don't have to work as hard on a GLP-1. And I could focus on other things. And, like, I remember I was working with therapist at one point, and she was like, what do you really want? I'm like, I just want this to be fucking easy. Or easier. And then I was a couple months into the GLP-1, and I'm like, oh, this is what I was talking about.
You're like, this is what I've been needing.
This is what I've been needing. So I can focus my energy on all the other things going on in my life and my work, my clients, my husband, my life. Like, I just don't want to think about meal prep and how many calories and how much food and blah, 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 blah.
Because it doesn't stop. Like, for those that it affects, that food noise, that obsessiveness doesn't stop. And same thing when I got on my GLP-1, like, it worked within, like, 24 hours, and I was like, what?
This is what normal people
This is wild. And then this is what normal people feel. And I'm like, wait.
No wonder.
For real?
No wonder.
Like, this makes so much more sense why, like, one, you guys can be way more productive. Yeah. Because it's really opened my eyes where I'm like, oh, I can get more done. Like, I can edit more, I can post more, I can create more. I'm not thinking about food and what am I gonna get? When am I gonna get it? What's it gonna taste like? Am I gonna like it?
Good food noise. So like with post-bariatric, where I was thinking, okay, well, how much protein and when do I need to eat next? And I eat pretty much every 2 to 3 hours for blood sugar regulation. And so it's just a lot of like thinking and, okay, how long has it been? And what do I need to eat next? And it's just nice to be able to not have to think about all that. I still think about it to a level, but not at the point I was before.
Oh, 100%. Because I was obsessive over certain foods too. So if like cookies were in the house, now like while we would be talking, I'd be thinking about the cookie. Mm-hmm. And then I'd be like, I would even go so far, and this is like the fat kid in me, I would look at the time, how long we've been. I go, oh, okay, another 20 more minutes, I get to have a cookie. So that's how, like when we call food noise, that's what I'm talking about. Is where I'm thinking about it and timing it and figuring out when I get to have it. Like, that's why I identify as an addict, because I feel like that's addict behavior. I've watched Eric do that addict behavior, and I'm doing it with food.
You know my opinion about food addiction.
Do I?
I'm not a big fan.
Oh, that's right.
The term. Yeah,
that's true story.
I know.
It's so funny.
Because I think that, especially with resolution with a GLP-1, to me that really shows that the insulin resistance was the driver of your brain feeling that way, and it wasn't actually addictive behavior. It was a natural biological response to your pancreas. Yeah.
Oh, so, that's a good way of putting it.
Because people can eat through GLP-1. So when someone comes to me and they are on a GLP-1 and they are still eating through it, going through, like, to me, that's food addiction, and that is actually somewhat rare.
That makes sense.
But if you get onto GLP-1 and you manage it pretty well, to me, that means that biologically you are naturally responding to a pancreas that was not functioning properly.
All right, so that's what it is. I believe that. Like, that makes sense to me.
That is controversial, but it's funny because it's controversial the other direction too. Like food addiction in general. There literally was just a study out. I was just reading it because, do you know who Dr. Mike Israel is? He's a bodybuilder.
No.
Oh, he's really fascinating. Dr. Mike. There's 2 Dr. Mikes. This is bodybuilding Dr. Mike.
Check him out.
Literally, he was talking about the study, and then I actually pulled the study up. I probably shouldn't speak about this unless I like fully know about it. But it was a really interesting study about like, is tasty food, for lack of a better, he used a better word than tasty food, addictive. And something about, oh no, can you pull it up?
Is it him?
I literally just saw it. It was so fascinating. Dr. Mike Food.
Is it this guy though?
Yeah, it's definitely Dr. Mike.
Okay. He definitely looks like a bodybuilder. It says that Dr. Mike is a well-known figure for his bodybuilding and fitness world, known for his expertise.
Kind of inappropriate, so don't watch him around in children.
Yeah. And so his expertise is sports medicine,
hypertrophy.
Yeah, hypertrophy and strength training. He holds a PhD in sports psychology and is the co-founder of Resistance and Periodination. Yeah.
I want to see if I could find this. It was a really interesting study about junk food.
Okay.
And was it this one? I can't find it. That's okay. But it was just a really interesting study about like, maybe is high caloric food like more addictive or something, and the reality is the way that our brains work, it's not. Mm-hmm. But it can be an unhealthy coping skill that can lead to unhealthy behaviors, and so like that, I think if we don't have a lot of control in other places, sometimes it's easier to be able to control there.
Like with
With
food.
food, yeah.
Well, that makes sense because you have to
Or
have
if I don't
food
get
to live,
satisfaction
so
in other areas,
Yeah.
I can quickly, easily obtain satisfaction of food.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Because it's legal, it's plentiful, I know how to get it, I will not get in trouble for getting it, especially as an adult, and it gives me a sense of control and order. So,
Oh, and then consistency if you do that, like 100. So then you feel good about it.
or a routine.
There we go.
I think that it's really challenging when, like, at the end of a hard day, our brain is like, I deserve blah, blah, blah. I deserve that ice cream. Or that's how this is not true of my family, but a family might be like, we have a hard day, we go get ice cream.
Yes.
We get ice cream every single day. I remember I was staying with a family over a summer, and they had ice cream every single day, and it was great because I was like, we get to have ice cream every single day. But then at some point I'm like, oh my god, we have had ice cream for like 68 days straight.
Oh
like,
my god.
it was called Brewster's. So you get like big anyway, so it was great because like my family
you're
we're not allowed to
like
have sugar. So I was like, yeah, we get to have sugar every night. But again, that was in the summer, that was their routine.
Mm-hmm.
Is in the summer, school's off, we go get ice cream every night. It's part of our routine.
That's wild.
It's a lot of ice cream.
That is a lot of ice cream.
Which is funny because, like, to this day, like, we'll go get ice cream, but it just looks different. It's not part of our routine. It's not a reward. It's literally because we were driving home from we go to this one restaurant that we love. And there's a Dairy Queen on the way home. And I'm like, do you want Dairy Queen? Do I want Dairy Queen? We both want it? Okay, yeah, let's do it. Not because we deserve like, again, it's just.
So I have a question about the word deserve. I'm very complicated with this word.
Me too.
Awesome. Because I hear that all the time. I deserve this, so I'm going to get a car, go to the movies, get alcohol, eat all this ice cream, whatever, XYZ. I have a problem because I don't ever feel like I deserve anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, I don't know. I just don't like it. It just feels icky to me. So I'm like, I don't deserve that. Like, I don't.
So
I don't know how to process it because I'm like, I hear it with like, oh, I deserve to go to Disneyland. I deserve to go to Wild Waves or, even with that stuff. And I'm like, do you? I don't really know.
I think sometimes too, like, avoidance of disappointment. So like I think we're probably chasing, I struggle with deserving too. And I think part of it is like one burdensome on the system. It's like one of my big things is I never want to be a burden on the system, whether that's the family system or the system as a whole.
Yep.
I need to be self-reliant or make my own money, like whatever the case may be. So I'm not burdensome onto the system. And I think that idea of like, I deserve something means I'm potentially going to put burdensomeness on the system. So if I don't feel that I deserve it or need it, then I don't burdensome the system. I just keep driving my old car. I just, if there's no money for us to go to Wet and Wild, then we don't go, and then I can't be disappointed about, like, I didn't think that I should have, so it feels better, and I don't have to be disappointed. I think I would look at kind of like avoidance of feeling, like, I'm avoiding a feeling, and so if I just don't think I deserve it, then I don't have to feel. I think too, like, I'm always worried about looking cocky or selfish or too self-assured or arrogant.
It's the arrogant one.
Yeah, that's probably someone you don't like who's like that, and you're trying not to become them. It's funny with JBY. It's funny, I have to say this.
Eric. I'll just put it out there. Yeah, he's very cocky and arrogant. Yeah.
And so it's probably like, I don't want to be that. And it might be someone too in your life who's been in your life longer than even Eric. But I think that, like, at JBY, I hate public speaking, as odd as that sounds, because I do great with podcasts. I love talking. I'm a therapist, but put me in a crowd of people and I don't do well. I usually shake. I turn red. I've had some really negative experiences attempting to public speak. And so I've been working on that in therapy. And it was really interesting because I felt like at JBY, it went the complete other direction. And I was trying to be so not worried about public speaking on the pink carpet. Oh my God, she was asking
What'd you say?
Oh my God, she asked me something about why mental health is important. And then I told her that I'm a presenter and a sponsor. Like, I watched it, but at the time I'm like, oh, I did so good. I didn't feel stressed or worried. And then I watched it back and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't hear her question. And I kind of answered it. And I was just like, okay, so it's funny. I went back to my therapist. So I'm like, okay, she's like, so how did it go? I was like, funny thing happens. We now went to the other side, we're opposite. Other side, and that felt yucky too. And she was like, okay, so like we'll figure out, how to get in the middle of it. But it's funny too, because again, that like I don't want to mess up on stage because I don't want to ruin this thing other people have worked really hard and now it looks like they have a bunch of unprofessional people like on the stage. I think for me too, I don't like public speaking because I like to be able to read everyone. This is also an ADHD thing. I can observe everything and nothing has priority. So when I'm one-on-one, I can see like how to respond to you. You're going to say something, I'm going to say something. I nod my head. In a room of like 50 people, I cannot do that for everyone.
No.
And I can't respond back. And that creates a lot of overload.
I believe it. Yeah.
Which is weird because like my husband loves public speaking. Loves giving presentations. It's part of his job. Yeah. It does not make him nervous. He thinks it's interesting. He's like, well, everyone in the room needs to know. And instead of me telling them individually, I'll tell them all at once. And that's a great use of my time. And I'm like, a great use of my time would be individually talking to them to make sure they fully understand. And if they have any questions, they can ask. And I could, right. So I don't want to do a big group, but it is interesting because I think that unworthy stuff also comes up like, why am I the one up on the stage? Like, what is so different about me that I'm up on the stage or I'm the sponsor or I'm on the pink carpet or, I felt really good at JBY.
Good.
That dress was like,
dude, you look fucking fabulous. It was amazing. And I think that's what I love also about JBY is like that shit happens. Mm-hmm. Where like confidence comes out, self-esteem's higher. People aren't as worried about what they're going to say because they're around a bunch of people that know you and aren't going to make fun of you.
I wasn't sure how I was going to top the dress I had for the year before. That showstopper. That was I really liked that dress. I wish I could have, it would have been culturally appropriate to wear it again. But no, I needed a new one. But it was interesting because I think that I like never allowed myself those kind of moments. Like I was always the one who had like a very muted like dress or whatever to kind of fit in, not stick out too much, not take the view away from other people. So it is kind of fun when I'm like, oh yeah, no, I showed up 2 years in a row with fully sequined gowns on. So yeah, I don't know. It looked
beautiful, and you could see that like I didn't know that you shake. To be honest with you. So, by the way, it's not noticeable.
Well, it wasn't noticeable for the first JBY, I don't think. But, like, I literally just did an event in February where I sponsored, my therapist training company sponsored an event. And it was so frustrating because I wanted to read. So I had my phone because I wanted to make sure I said everything.
Yeah.
And it, like, you could tell, it was so awful. And I'm like, I want to say what I want to say. But it is funny. Like our bodies sometimes just have responses we don't like.
Yeah.
And, we have to work through them and you have to put yourself in the situation over and over and over again. So like, I was talking to my therapist, like, okay, so like, when's your next public speak where you're going to get up in front of a bunch of people and still tell them what you're going to tell them? Even if it, you're scared, do it anyway. Like, because then eventually my body will figure out that it's safe.
That it's okay. Yeah. It just needs to have some safe responses. Because Rob is the same way. So Rob Motivation, from the very first JBY, he broke out of hives in the bathroom. Yeah. He's sweating, hives. He's like, at the time he didn't realize it was Dylan, but Dylan actually calmed him down in the boys' bathroom. So adorable. And then once he realized, like, I'm his mom, he goes, this makes more sense.
Your son went to the first one?
Yeah, he was at the first one. He actually ran the merch station. Him and Angie did.
You had a merch station?
I did have a merch station.
We should have a merch station next time.
We fucking will. We fucking will, damn it. We're gonna have a merch
I wanted
station.
one of those sweatshirts.
You can order. So here's the thing: you can order our stuff still. It's
super cute. It had like
Just Be You on
Just Be You embroidered. I was like, oh, those are so cute.
Yeah, so those are actually on Profit Queen's website. So she's making them for us.
Oh, I didn't realize.
So it's in the digital swag bag. By the way, guys, go check your digital swag bag. It's free. Literally, just put in your email. And then you get the access inside. Click on all the things. Check it all out. You never know what you might like. And literally the very first one is our swag. So it's JBY swags, JBY merch. It's all really priced, like at good levels. Like you don't have to pay for a sweater of like $70. Like that's not happening.
It's not like merch at a concert.
Yeah, not at all. So it's like $45, I think.
I went and saw Madonna. Okay, that was a great concert. Her merch was the shittiest merch I've ever bought. That is the crappiest t-shirt, and it was one of the most expensive. Madonna, do better.
Madonna, get it together. You know what it's like.
I need soft. I'm in my soft era. I need
comfort.
The itchiest t-shirt.
Really?
Oh my! It is the literal cheapest.
Fuck that. No.
Adele was kind of the same way.
Okay, I will say all my punk rock bands, you kill it. You do. It's it's funny because they only have typically like one or two shirts, one sweater, and all of them are soft as fuck.
No one got time for that.
And no one got time for that shit, and they're typically very reasonable priced because we're punk rock kids. We know.
Did you ever make the giant like triple like quadruple X ones into like dresses?
No, but I should.
There used to be in Tallahassee, Florida. I went to college there. I have family there. There was a lady there that you used to be able to bring her. I remember my sister worked with her like super briefly. You could bring your 3X, however big it was, and she would make it. And she made, I think, a Slipknot shirt I had into a dress.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, she like cut it and tied it so it had like a side.
Yes, yeah. I've seen those.
Yeah, I was like, oh. I don't have any merch like that today.
I forget that you like rock too. This is why.
Yeah, I had another life prior to my current one.
I mean,
do you know I went to Family Values in 1999? Yeah. I'm going to give my age away.
Oh,
that was like
I wanted to go to that. I couldn't because I was 13. But I loved every fucking band. Korn was there. Slipknot was there.
Rammstein.
Rammstein was there.
Orgy was there.
Fucking
Ice-T was there.
I believe it.
I don't know why he was there, but he was there.
He does rock out to some
and
stuff.
People yelled at him because, do you have the CD?
I still have CDs.
Yes.
I have tons of CDs.
I actually have Family Values 99 and Return of the Rock. Do you remember MTV's Return of the Rock?
Yeah.
That CD is one of the best. I have them both on Apple Music. Shout out to Apple Music for having both of those because I was like sitting one day and I was like, I wonder if that CD is somewhere in the ether.
Uh-huh. It is. Well, it's funny because I was cleaning out the basement and I found, because I have them in the cases and shit.
Oh no, I just had the
big
binder thing.
Yes, yes. No, I was totally into Eminem. Everyone that knows me should know that I love Eminem. But I have every single CD, every single album. Like, it is adorable.
I don't have any because I don't.
I love the pamphlets. Like right now.
Yeah. Do you have a CD player?
Well, okay, no, but
change. This does relate. Change. This does
because relate. Now what you do is you put it in your computer because it has a CD-ROM. Unless your computer doesn't have a CD-ROM.
Doesn't have a CD-ROM.
Okay, well then you don't. Then you don't.
Change.
Yeah, or in your car. Some of the old cars came with CD players. So
I haven't owned a car that has CD player in quite a while.
My last car, the Jeep does. The Jeep that Dylan drives has a CD player.
Yes, we had that.
Yeah.
I know I had one because we put the CD thing in it, and then it had an auxiliary cord.
Yes, an aux cord. Yep. And then you just plug that in, and then bam, done.
It had to be like my Toyota Corolla.
Well, I think it's kind of perfect. I had a Toyota Corolla too. No, Toyota Camry 1980. Ooh. No, 1980 Toyota Corolla. That's what it was. It looked like a gremlin. It was like burnt orange too. Like
burnt orange.
Oh yeah. If I find photos of it, I will send them out because that was my very first car. It was $300. Paid for that shit myself.
I believe that.
We were good to go. It fucking would fix itself.
Changes.
It's insane.
You could buy a car for $300
at some point, and I did it. And I think that's the thing too, like with your changes, it's anywhere, right? Yeah. Like we got to think about it. It's not just your bariatric journey because, and what I want to say about bariatric journey, that's just your life now. Mm-hmm. So it involves your music changes, the people you hang out with, the books that you read, the movies that you watch. I was talking about this to Ashlyn yesterday because I think we need to talk a little bit about like you are what you consume. You are what is around you. As much as us don't want to believe we are a product of our environment, we kind of are. And we learn a lot from our environment and what we watch. And I know from like watching, when I love music and film, and watching people that like only watch certain things and kind of how their demeanors are, I'm like, oh, this makes more sense. Like you're literally watching sad shows. You're watching like negative things on TV. You're listening to country. Sorry, guys. It's fucking sad. And it's mopey. And it's down. Like, even, like, the fact that we listen to rock, there's a thing, though, with that. It's up. You're fucking jumping around. You're getting all of that anxiety. But
you may notice agitation, irritation, and anger.
Yeah, that's you. Say that again.
Agitation, irritation, and anger.
Yes.
Road ragey.
Road ragey.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you're driving about what you choose to.
Yes. Because there's some songs that I even right now it's called it's from Jay-Z, and it's Money Ain't a Thing is the song, and every time it's on, I speed. Yeah, I get excited.
I have a couple of songs that
right?
I shouldn't listen to.
You just can't. Yeah. You're like, oh shit, I'm about to go 90 because I love this fucking song. And it's because I relate it back to my brother when he had a Camaro and he listened to Jay-Z, and that's what we would do is go fast, pull the e-brake, you know, did those little wheelies and all the things.
That would make me so sad. Sounds fun.
Sounds fun. But what's funny about it now, I hate that shit. Like, I don't want anybody in the car going too fast, getting too close. I don't like it when they pull the e-brake. I'm a fucking baby. I'm like crying. I'm like, stop, please, stop. Like, ask anybody that I'm a passenger with. I'm not annoying. It's just, sometimes you guys go too fast. Sometimes you get really close to people. And it bothers me. But that's funny, like, just from changing from being a fucking teenager to now, I love that shit. But now that actually, it's after I had Dylan. I didn't want to get hurt at all. It was a full safety thing where I'm like, well, who's going to take care of him? Where's his dad? Because for those that don't know, Eric is Dylan's dad. We did get married and we're together for 15 years. But those first 2.5, 3 years, Eric was scarce. Eric was actually the first year and a half Eric was scarce. So we really had to work on us getting married and all the things. But I was alone. So I was very nervous about Dylan. And now my priorities completely shifted and changed. So just know through your journey and through your life, changes are inevitable. And I think that's probably why, like, living in a household where change happens all the time, it doesn't bother me. Like you said, because it's fine. I'm like, oh yeah, this is just what life is. This is what we do. Nova, they can hear you.
That's the point.
Right?
It's like something important is happening.
I don't know what it is. Okay, so how should we wrap this up? What should be... What's the last thing they should all know?
I think that one of the important things is that change doesn't mean the end.
Thank you.
So, even though some things may be changing or looking different, it isn't the end. You still can show up, even if you aren't super happy about what exactly things look like. There may be an opportunity when things go away for other things to take their place that may be great. It may be an opportunity to look at yourself, what you're doing, what you choose to do, and if you want to do something different. And that's okay.
Yeah, and I want to add to that it is totally fine to make your own changes. It is totally okay. Talk to your friends and family. Talk to your therapist. Like, it's okay to do these things, especially if you're not hurting anyone. You know, like, do what's best for you. And that's like, I want to just take a little moment and address like Kel's not here and I'm sitting in Kel's seat. Like that's a whole different change dynamic. Does it mean things are done? No, the podcast lives on, Kelly lives on, I live on. She's actually taking time for her own health and making sure she's okay, because when someone has 4 autoimmune diseases, guys, like some people just laugh it off and act like that's nothing. But it's not nothing, especially when you're trying to do some of the things that we try to do on a daily basis. So I have mad respect for her to just take her time, get better, and figure out what's next for Kelly, you know? So please stay with me. Please like and subscribe. Make sure you're following us on all the channels, because I have lots of new things coming your way. Literally, I've been talking to everybody. This community is fucking amazing. They're all here to support. They all want me to lean on them, and that is what's happening. And we're going to get some really fun content out there for you guys and really get to see how things are changing, because I'm just going to be more revealing, I guess. Like, you're going to see the behind the scenes more now. Like, I get to just post whatever, so have fun with my posting. If you have any questions, it's me answering them, and I will make sure they are taken care of. I typically don't let anything go more than 24 hours, so please make sure if you have questions. I have resources like Ashlyn. If you need a bariatric therapist, she is here for Florida. Now she does have findabariatrictherapist.com, where you can literally put in your own zip code and you can find someone in your area, because we all know this life is hard. And if someone just understands a little bit more by having bariatric surgery, fucking let's go. So
if you can't find someone in your state, just message on any of my websites. It all comes to me. It's just me. So if there's no one there, just message me and I will help connect you. I have some other resources. I train bariatric therapists. So I have a Facebook page that's specifically for bariatric therapists that may not all be listed, but are still an available resource. So if you can't find, or if you are a therapist and you want to be trained, learn bariatric psychological assessments.com. Again, reach out to me on Find a Bariatric Therapist, or on Find a Bariatric Therapist, click Therapist Training. It'll take you to the other website. If you're a therapist looking to get trained, we need more of you.
Yes.
If you have a therapist that you see and you're like, they're the bomb and I wish everyone could see them, I often will sponsor. If someone reaches out to me and says, hey, I want to put my therapist, I will reach out to your therapist and offer them either for free or a discount to be listed. So so I think that stay above the drama.
Yeah.
Feel your feelings and roll with changes, and because that's all we can do.
That's all we can do, guys. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Ashlyn, for being on and in the studio. And until next time, guys. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Our Sleep Life podcast. Don't forget to head over to my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, and follow me on all the socials so you stay connected. And remember, until next time, keep shining bright.